How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another go-karting video. I made one recently on my birthday party, and since then I've thought, well, if I want to get into car racing next year, then I might as well get some more go-karting racing under my belt so that I have some idea of what I'm doing when I get out on track in terms of racecraft, etc. And luckily for me, a brand new go-karting track by Teamsport opened up in Watford, which is super close to where I live, so I headed down there on Wednesday this week to do 3 20-lap races with a couple of my mates, and honestly it was really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and the third race in particular was a complete classic, so I'm looking forward to showing you guys that one. Anyway, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So you just saw in the intro I had done my gridding up, and you've got these really cool grid lights actually to see this grid start. It's pretty sick. Yeah, it's lights out and away we go. Thank you very much, Martin Brundle, for your kind services to F1. But the reason why I put myself in the lead to start this race off was simply so that I could get a feel of the track. We literally got 2 practice laps before we had to go and grid up, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I won't show you much of this race, but I'll just show you enough to kind of give you a flavour of what was going on. I put myself on pole position by just driving past everyone during the practice to make sure that I could learn the circuit properly. I knew that if I was going to be stuck behind people, then I wouldn't necessarily get the chance to just drive in some free air. I also didn't know how fast I was going to be because there were some people there who were like fully kitted up and ready to go, and I know that I had my kit on and stuff, but mine's for track driving rather than for go-karting, so I was a little bit like, oh, how am I going to be? But actually it turned out to be absolutely fine. I think I had the legs in the end on them, which is always a bonus. Here you can see by the end of the first lap, that rear view camera, I was pretty much a second and a half ahead by this point already. So one thing to note is that this downstairs, it looks slippery because it is slippery, but lots of people were sort of complaining about it. I actually really like it. It's a little bit of a I don't know, it kind of splits up the field a little bit. Those people that can find the grip on the downstairs and really make use of the kart sliding. So like here, for example, I was trying to find where the grip was on that right side of the track. Racing lines aren't always the right lines when you're downstairs in this track, and you can see this back marker here getting black flagged and just pulling over to the side all of a sudden, which is a bit sketchy. But yeah, upstairs was the complete opposite. Upstairs was super grippy, and as you can see here, because these karts are electric, they have so much torque, so you can just bomb it up the inside of people. We're going to call that move there the JB Special, although I don't think I pull it off very well here. Look at that, gets the full-on switchback on me, that back marker. Full-on played me there. I played myself, but I wasn't going to make that mistake twice. That was a really good opportunity to do overtaking because this place was quite tight. We'll call it the Monaco of karting, you know, Watford, sunny Watford, the Monaco of karting. And yeah, here's another example of the JB Special being pulled off. You can see you just go wide, tuck it in tight, and because these karts are electric with all that torque, you can just literally bomb it out of corners without having to carry the momentum. In fact, sometimes momentum wasn't even that important. It was just a really strange experience. But yeah, you can see I pulled it off better there. I didn't let him get back at me on that one. And yeah, the whole race isn't that interesting, I suppose, because when you're just leading and cracking on as usual, there's not much to report. But you can see these two just send themselves on the more slippy downstairs section. Everyone was kind of struggling in the first session. The lap times were probably about 2 seconds slower than they ended up being at the end. Generally, I think I did a 47.7 in this race, and that's a relatively slow lap time from my perspective, compared to the record, which I think is currently a 46.3, I think is what the current record is around this track. So literally, yeah, only opened last week. I'm sure people will get into the 45s and stuff pretty soon. But yeah, I mean, I actually really liked it. I think it was actually a very good track. And I mean, there's not... When you're leading a race like this and you haven't really got much competition, it's not actually that much fun to talk about, I suppose. It's really fun when you're doing it. You're just trouncing everyone, but that right there was the finish. So we can stop talking about it. You see the yellow flags come on. It's just basically a dash to 20 laps. And let's have a look at the results of that first race. Hope you like this new little graphic I made. I think I might use this in future if you guys think it's any decent, but basically just shows you there the driver difference in best lap. As you can see, yeah, took the top spot. Then Raj Henry, my good friend Luke, was there in P4. My friend Max as well in P5. And my other mate Lewis, what was he doing down in P9? Poor, come on, he's got to be picking it up from there. To be fair, later on in the video you'll see him literally blitz the field, so don't worry about that. Anyway, they then quickly got us back into the karts and gridded us up randomly for race 2. I didn't get any luck with my grid slot, unfortunately, starting off P8, so second from back row of the grid. You can see a few people here jumping the start. Yeah, that's definitely illegal. A whole bunch of time penalties right there, surely, but obviously not enforced. As you can see in front of me there, that's Raj who came P2 in the first race, so I knew I had to very quickly pull over to the right and try and get past her ASAP so that I didn't have any competition. And you can see here, snuck up the inside, took a few positions there and got myself up into P5. Literally, you can see behind me there, she got stuck behind in that rear view shot, which was helpful for me. It means I get a bit of clean air and don't have to battle as much with people. But yeah, coming through already into P5, so taking 3 positions within this first lap. Right in front of me there is my good friend Lewis, who is already looking behind him. You can sense that I'm there to just snap that position away from him. The JB Special is absolutely coming. And I did give it a go. And I didn't really have the legs on him. He definitely had the space, but he looked over and then gave me the space. Seemingly, I don't know what happened there. Maybe, as I say, he could just sense the fact that I was there and didn't fancy the battle, but whatever. So he ends up behind, but there's no biggie here. I have to carry on pushing through. Can't focus on Lewis, got to focus on me. And pulled another quick little switch back here into this corner. This is a really great corner for overtaking because you can take it flat out, and most people don't take it flat out. So you just come through there flat and take the line away, and yes, it's a pretty simple one. This corner is so slippy, and getting the right line through there is really tough. This corner, however, I was finding that if I stayed over to the right hand side on exit, I was getting loads of traction, which was very helpful. If you went to the outside, you're throttling for no reason, basically. Hitting the wall there, not very good kart control, very clearly, but P1 and P2 have done a great job already of pulling away. So in P1 was a guy called Henry, not one of my mates, not someone that I know, but he was called Henry, there you go. And P2 there is my good friend Luke. So Luke doing a great job getting out nice and early and starting to break away from the pack, and it's all up to me now to try and chase him down. I was trying my best to get some good lines going at this point. Obviously I'm feeling a bit better on the track. I've done 23 laps, well 26 now. I've done a few laps in this race as well, but as you can see they're flat through that corner. Again, getting the back to sort of slide round as best you can. There's a really slippy spot in that corner too. I'll talk you through a couple of laps when I get to the faster laps, but for now we're just literally focusing our attention on catching up with Luke. The track really was a tale of two halves though, because you can see just how slippy this downstairs is with all that shine off of the floor, and then upstairs the amount of traction is just unbelievable. It's really, really grippy upstairs, and it'll get even grippier as more karts go over it, as will the downstairs. But the downstairs, genuinely, I actually really enjoyed it. It was kind of like not karting in the wet, but karting in slightly drizzly weather. That's kind of the best way I can describe it. Now you can see that this top 3 is also bunched up a bit now, so Luke's caught up to Henry and I've caught up to Luke. I think that's Luke. Apologies, mate, if it's not. But yeah, I'm pushing super hard to be as close to him as possible. I got up the inside here and once again able to make that move through that corner. But then I get absolutely clarted in the back there by Luke. Just fully spun. So let's watch a replay of that one. So coming down the hill then, you see I go to the inside of Luke. Luke tries to get the switch back, but he hasn't really got the momentum. And then he kind of does at the last minute, but obviously I'm already taking the line into the corner. He goes very wide there, and then I luckily am able to get out of that little corner, and I just cut straight back across to make sure that he can't come back past and go past me. But then I say that, and literally on the next corner, he goes for it up the inside. He gets way more pickup and way more traction. As you can see, like I've been saying, finding that grip on the downstairs section is so crucial, and he clearly found it there and nearly got me back. But we've lost a bit of time here to Henry out front, so it's time to now push and try and catch him up. I know that Luke's not going to work with me here. He's definitely here for the glory as much as I am, so he's got to be considered as a threat at this point, and he's really good at following lines too. I haven't got my back facing camera through this section, but he stayed right with me the whole way through here. And honestly, if you ever find someone in karting who's a lot quicker than you and they go past you, the best thing that you can do is just try and follow their lines and follow what they're doing, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to help you to get a lot quicker. And it really clearly helped Luke here, because he stays with me all the way through this section whilst we catch back up to Henry. And Henry's driving pretty well for himself as well here. He's not quite clocked that right hand side there has way more grip or pick up on it, but he's still doing some pretty good lines there, so it's all good and well. Although he is now looking behind him, because as I say, he can just sense that there's a threat coming, a silent threat, because these are electric karts, so they make a very strange noise. He knows, if he knew properly though, he'd know that the JB Special was on, and I kind of sent him a little bit wider than I probably should have here, because I wanted to give Luke a chance to have him as well. So you can see now these two get bunched up quite close to each other as I come out of this corner, and it kind of just gives Luke the opportunity to pass him later in the race, which he did. He pulled that through and actually ended up passing him slightly further down the line. But for me, that's no longer an issue. I just need to keep my head down and put in some heaters and start gapping this field, because I still at this point don't really know how much faster I'm going to be when everyone settles into their pace. So I was just like, okay, it's time to start pushing in. And also, another thing about this was the laps very much just rolled into one. You didn't really know what lap you're on, so I had no idea I was on lap 6 at this point, although you can clearly see it there on the bottom left. I didn't have the HUD in real life. You don't have real life HUD, sadly. If you did, that would be very helpful because that would enable me to know what lap I was on, but since we don't, I didn't. But yeah, back onto this top section, pushing not massively hard still, to be perfectly honest. I was more kind of just focused on finding the right line still. So like in that corner there, I was trying to do like a wide and then in and then out. I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah, it's just trying to find the right line. Oh, and here it goes pretty wrong. So this guy has to change his visor and then just stops on the track. So yeah, I had to take evasive there. But then I've got a good example of what you should do as a back marker. So this is Henry again. I don't know what happened to him, but he dropped a couple of laps and he just waved me through, which was very kind of him to let me go through there. Obviously saying my thank yous to him. But I can now talk you through what I think is a half decent lap around here. So I think this was a 47.1 this lap. So coming through this section here, you want to kind of get the hook up as best as possible and as early as possible on the throttle, flat out through this corner, get the turning in. And I think I went a little bit wide there because there's actually a very sort of greasy spot there that you hit into and it really stops the kart. But there you want to stay as in as possible because that's where all the grip is, and here you want to stay as right as possible to find the grip as well. Then through this corner it's just a case of sliding it through on the throttle fully, so you're literally full throttle the whole way through there, and then here again sliding it because it's just so slippy there. You might as well make use of it, maintain that momentum a little bit, and then back up onto the ramp. Here you just stay left and then go around this corner as tight as you can. Went a little bit wider there than I would have hoped because you can kind of get a little cut back there, and then through that little corner there you want to give yourself the best exit possible, and I think a lot of people weren't really doing that. So yeah, you can see a 47.16 I think, or something like that. I can't actually remember what it was in the end, but somewhere around that. And then the following lap was actually a 47.2 as well, so it was two very consistent laps, one after the other. You can see again just trying to take those same lines that I was doing beforehand. I'm starting to get more into my groove now in terms of working out where the grip is and also just working out how much throttle you can do. One weird thing about these karts is obviously because they are electric, they're super heavy. So like relative to your average kart, they really do keep rolling is probably the best way of describing it. Like when you're sliding them through corners, you have to be a lot more gentle on the steering in a weird way. Like you do one quick jab on the steering and then you just kind of let it go the rest of the way. But yeah, that was lap 16 there, and now we're on to lap 20 because nothing really happened between then and the end of the race. I just kind of stretched out my lead a bit, came round, overtook that lapper there, and yeah, as you can see here, staying right and then coming across to try and cut that apex and come back across. But that was the finish of that race. So let's have a look at the results for that one. Now, I have to preface these results with the fact that I don't think I actually lapped Luke or Raj, at least. I might not even have lapped Mark or Lewis either, I'm not really sure. But where the finish line is, as soon as the first person hits 20 laps, they put the checkered out there and then, but they pull you off right towards the end of the lap. So I was clearly far enough away from everyone that when I went through the finish line and they waved the checkered flag, they pulled people into the pen. So like P2 was able to get pulled straight into the pen, meaning that Luke, Raj, etc. only did 19 laps. So I was the only person actually on the track who completed 20 laps, whereas most people didn't complete 20 laps. They were on lap 20 and didn't actually get to finish it. But as you can see, yeah, 47.167 was my fast lap. Luke did really well. He did a whole bunch of 48s in a row and then just banged out a 47.3 as if it was nothing on his last full lap. So gotta respect that. People generally going a bit faster in the session, always good to see. And unfortunately, Stephen down there at the bottom, who again, no idea who that was, but they DNF'd the race. So yeah, quite unfortunate there. So here we are then, the third race of the evening, waiting on the lights, and then all of a sudden, Lewis is just like, nah, I'll send it. I'm off. See you boys later. And yeah, he really does manage to get himself a bit of a lead as a result of that jump start. He just did not care about the lights. I've got to respect the hustle there, but I mean, if it was a real race, he would have been slightly penalised, I would assume. Instead, he decided to Seb Vettel or Valtteri Bottas it, just get that quick, cheeky jump start. Maybe he was still in his box, who knows. I'm going to assume not based on that footage though. So yes, already into P7, so started P9, didn't get much luck with the shuffling of positions throughout the evening, so it's good that I started off the first race in first at least. I didn't really mind, to be honest. It's more fun to start from the back and it makes for better footage. It was very dicey these first few laps though, be very prepared. You see me there clarting into the back of that dude, and yeah, going for the old JB special again. He's done it himself. He's going for the inside on Henry, I think that is, up in front. It's watch over these next few laps. It gets very, very close, and there's a lot of hitting. So I think people were attention's running high. The red mist descended quite often. As you can see here, I'm going for it, and that move really cost me because as you can see here, Raj comes up my inside as a result of me losing the position there, and as I say with the diciness, gets shoved into the wall. I was not best pleased, but I knew that I could come back at it. But to be perfectly honest, we're on lap 2, and I've only actually made up one position. I started P9, and now I'm only P8 with that net gain of only 1, considering I made 2 and then lost 1. So yeah, not ideal, not a good start to the race, and not befitting of someone who's literally just won the 2 previous races so easily. So I was slightly worried that maybe my skills were only there when I was on my own and I had no racecraft, but then I realised that I was just being an idiot and watch over the next couple of laps as I try and send myself back into contention. But as you can see again, people just bumping into each other, and I'm just trying to find any opportunities to get past Raj here, showing the wheel wherever I can. I'm definitely the kind of person who, in karts like these, less so in momentum karts, so anything petrol that you need momentum in, I wouldn't do this, but in talkie karts with these electric ones, you can show the wheel whenever you want and just kind of put the other person off. So here again, you'll see I'm on the outside. She knows I'm there. She's taking a little look. She comes across to block, and that just really hampers her line coming into this corner, allowing me to just sneak up the inside and then return the favour in terms of pushing towards the wall. So yeah, you can, because these karts have that torque, you can really just kind of force it. Or force the issue more than you would in a momentum kart, where if you tried forcing the issue and then you screwed it up, you would end up getting, I suppose, losing a load of time and then losing the drag off of the person in front of you. So yeah, it's a difficult one. But I did quite like these electric karts anyway, even though maybe they are a little bit of a different experience. Coming down the hill here, flat out again. I'm up to P6 now, so you saw a couple of good overtakes there, just trying to force my way around people as best as I can. And yeah, these two are getting very dicey, and that sends him very wide, allowing me to get up right behind Henry here. And I'm, again, trying that outside, just showing the wheel. It also kind of impacts my line here, so you see I was very tight going in there, and I couldn't do anything about passing Henry through that section. Once again, coming into this corner, Henry's doing a great job of defending it. I'm going to do my absolute best to try and sneak up the inside, and I just about make it. The JB Special works once again. Get that little inside, use the torque of the kart, and come through. So yeah, on to lap number 5, and I'm still only in position 4. So, I mean, considering I started P9, I'm up 5 positions. And oh, by the way, the reason why there's 10 people in this race is because the guy who DNF'd in the previous race DNS'd this one, so I think he was just a bit tired or whatever. I don't know the reason, but I get quite lucky because Lewis is miles away. If you look on the right hand side, he's already coming across the track there, and we get a yellow flag, but then he carries on going quite quickly, and so he kind of sets the yellow flag pace at quite a high one, and then you hear the marshal shouting a couple of times, once then, and then in a moment again I get shouted at by the marshal to slow down. So I do blame Lewis for that one. He's out in front and he's setting quite a fast yellow flag pace, but I wasn't about to just lose my position. It did go green again though a lap or so later, and we'd all caught up to Lewis because he slowed down maybe a bit too much on the yellow flag. I get absolutely mugged off to the outside here, and have to then reevaluate my position because I've got Henry right behind me as well, so I need to stay defensive but also try and get back at this dude who's just put me in the wall almost. So yeah, I do love this bit of racing when you're attacking and defending. It is quite a lot of fun. Coming back up the hill then, I'm thinking, can I go for that inside? I go for it. I'm kind of alongside, but I'm not close enough. He has just enough room to block me, but then check this switchback, right? So he clocks me, he goes to block once, I switch back again, go for that inside one more time. He looks over again, with his visor down, by the way, very dangerous. And then I jump back up the inside again for the triple switchback, and then just run him very wide there, just to let him know that I wasn't feeling so happy. And then he nudged me there, and that actually helped. That nudge pushed me through the very slippy bit in that corner that would have otherwise got in my way. So see that back marker who was doing a great job of getting back out of the way, she gets absolutely savaged by the guy who I just overtook. Full on clarted there, which is quite unfortunate. It must not be very much fun to be less confident in a go-kart and then have a whole bunch of random angry people coming past you at much faster speeds. But she did a great job of getting out of the way, and a fair play to her for getting involved. Another JB Special pulled off there, very nice, just taking P2. And now I have to chase down my good buddy Lewis, who I actually play a few racing games with and stuff, mostly with the controller, not like proper racing games. I'm talking like Wreckfest and GTA racing and that kind of stuff. But that definitely translates. As you can see, he's out in the lead, and he's also more than willing to cheat with the old jump starts as well. But he's taking some very sketchy lines. He's very much Tokyo Warrioring these corners rather than taking them like a racer, and that really just allows me to jump up the inside here and get the run on him. And watch, he fully notices that it's happening, and yeah, I thought I would give him a little bit of attitude as we went up this hill, just to remind him that however much he decides to cheat, he ain't getting it. And let's just watch as we slowly gap him over the next little while. So he does a good job of trying to chase the lines, but if you see here, when he comes up some of the corners, he ends up sliding a little bit too much. And those slides, you want to slide on the slippy stuff downstairs a little bit. You want to let the kart kind of do its thing. But when you're on the grippy stuff upstairs, you want to minimize the amount of sliding you're doing, because that grip that you could have is just more milliseconds, more tenths of a second that you can gain rather than spending that time drifting. And I think that's one thing that Lewis, if you're watching, mate, focus on less Tokyo Warrioring and more line choice. I think this is the fastest lap. Yeah, so this was my fastest lap of the evening, which is only 0.5 of a second off the lap record at the moment set by customers. I think other people might have gone faster who weren't customers and people who actually worked there. But as you can see, yeah, very nice and tidy through that first section. Super chilled, staying nice and inside. So I changed up my line there and stayed as tight as possible. And then here as well, keeping the kart moving, but also aiming for that right hand side so I can get this corner absolutely flat out. Don't touch the wall, because the wall still does slightly slow you down. Get the turn in early there, and you can see that's really nice, the way that I then slid back out to the outside again. This one, stay right and then come across and get on the throttle as early as possible. Flat out through here on the throttle, and then cut it really nice and tight here, and then open up the next corner basically, so that you can cut back across and then open up this corner as well. So that was a 46.89 in the end, I believe that lap was, which is actually very decent. To only be 0.5 of a second off the fastest lap, I'm very happy with that as someone who's not a pro karter. But then that was it. We finished the race there. There wasn't much more to happen. Obviously, I was out in the lead and I was very much gone at that point. This is, I think this is the last lap of the race. Yeah, so lap 15. So coming around then just to finish off the evening, I want to say again a massive thank you to Teamsport, because it was thoroughly enjoyable the whole evening. I know that they're struggling, because I say struggling, they're struggling in terms of with the karts being electric, they need to make sure that they have enough time to charge them between races and whatever. So this was originally supposed to be a 50 lap race, and they said it was 3 20 lap races because the karts can't last the full 50 laps, but they still put on a great event for us, and I really enjoyed it. So, and it gave more content as well. I think one 50 lap race might have been a bit boring in terms of content. I think 3 little sprint races is a little bit more fun to do. So yeah, that's the finish line there, coming through, finishing off the race, and finishing off what was a really fun evening. So yeah, highly recommend, if you haven't been to the Watford Teamsport, you head down there. I'm going to try and go there as much as possible because it is super close to home for me. So yeah, now you'll just see me pulling some huge Tokyo drifts around these corners and on the slidey stuff. Very, very nice. Look at that. Massive stuff. So these are results then. Obviously, as you can see, took P1, best lap of a 46.890, which I was very happy with. As I said, only 0.5 a second off the lap record. So next time we go, we got to get it down to that. I need to work out where I'm going wrong. I'll have a look at all the data and take it back to the boys in the factory, obviously, all that good stuff. Luke there has a star next to him because he didn't actually finish P10. Just on his data, it said that he had done like 3 laps at about 3 minutes each, and I don't think that actually happened. So I think what happened is his transponder stopped working, so he actually ended up finishing higher in that race, I'm pretty certain, because he finished P3 overall. Raj came P2 overall, so congrats to her, and then I took the top spot, obviously, with the 3 race wins. So it was like an amalgamation of points across the 3 races. So yes, get in there, Lewis. Miracles do happen, mate. Very happy with that one. And there you can see me celebrating that trophy I won, straight on the mantelpiece with that one, obviously. But that was the end of the evening. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed the racing. I'm hoping to do, as I say, a lot more go-karting in the near future. So if you enjoy these kinds of videos, do hit the like button and let me know in the comments, because I would really appreciate it, and I'd love to make more videos like this. So if you guys enjoy it, I'll definitely do more of them. Massive thank you to the patrons as always, and massive thank you to you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.